So in this video I'm going to be doing another story time with Archivist, dreaming. Sometimes I think it's interesting to talk about dreams because if you don't do so they are very easily forgotten, and sometimes they can be an inspiration for good ideas, sometimes they can teach us a lesson, and sometimes they can just give us a closer look into our own psyche. But what I dreamt last night was rather disturbing, but also quite interesting. To be honest, it played out very much like a horror film. So essentially, I awake within my dream into this house, and it's not my house. I'm within a fictional family. No one within this family is in my family. I found that quite odd straight away. Why have I imagined this new family? But hey, that's how it is. And so bizarrely, we're going on a trip to Alton Towers. I guess the reason that was on my mind was because it's been in the news recently, but that was what we were going to do. However, when my fictional dad goes to the car ready to take us out, he suddenly stops and stands still. Don't know why, he's just not moving. It's very curious. So I go up behind him and tap him on the shoulder, but still not doing anything. I'm hesitant, but I go around him to look him in the eye, but what I see there is that his pupils have essentially gone. All you see now are the whites of his eyes. It's creepy, strange, bizarre. What's gone on here? And so we kind of force him back into the house. He's not resisting, he's almost in a trance kind of state. We don't know what's gone on yet. And funnily enough, this fictional family, I've got a mother, a brother and a sister, and they're all helping to put him down onto the sofa. Another weird quirk, despite the fact we were going to Alton Towers, this is an American family, again, quite strange, but it is a dream. And then he starts to twitch a bit. His head starts to twitch, and we're wondering why is that going on? And so I try to calm him down, so I grab him by the shoulders and shake him a little. Something strange is going on. And I try to slap some sense into him. Sometimes when I see things like this in horror movies, I just want to kind of attack the guy who's acting strange, to slap some sense into him. I don't want to fear him, I want to take it head on, whatever strange thing is going on. But I can't get through to him. But then I finally give up as nothing seems to be going right, and I turn around and my sister is now the same. Her pupils have gone and she's standing there rigid, just the whites of her eyes there. Naturally me, my little brother and my mother are terrified. Again, now there are two of them. And we're standing there, and the fact it seems to be almost infecting the family is quite terrifying. And as it dawns on us that this may be an actual threat rather than just a weird occurrence, the light outside begins to dim. It is rather curious. I actually go to the conservatory door and open it and look outside, and the sun is still visible. It's burning yellow in the sky, and yet it is nighttime. It's really strange. It's almost as if its light was contained to a single spot in the sky. And so I come back to the family. They're very scared, and my brother, he grabs my hand. He's a fair amount shorter than me, and pulls me out of the room and urges me to come upstairs. And after a second we realise that my mother is not actually with us, and we fear the worst. Something's probably happened to her too. We've left her with my father and sister, who were too under this kind of trance spell. And the light begins to go from the house. We try to switch the light on to compensate for the darkness outside, but they're not turning on. It's some kind of power cut. Really odd. And we're thinking, is Mum, is she alright? Has she been taken by this trance, or is she still okay? Should we go back for her? And what we've done is we're essentially in his room, and we go to open the door to go check on her, but then we hear a bang, a crash on the door, and it shakes, and we think, is that Mum trying to get help? Is she trying to get in because she needs help? Or is she under now, and are they all trying to get in and take us too? but we don't know. And I guess it's just because you're not as on the ball, if you will, in a dream state. But I thought she might be okay, but logically, of course, if she was okay, she would have called to us. But she starts bashing on the door. She's bashing and bashing, and the bashing gets quicker and quicker and louder until all of a sudden it just stops and there's this silence. And me and my younger brother, we start boarding up the windows, getting terrified because we are under the impression now that our entire family has fallen under this mysterious trance. And we hide up in the bedroom for a bit. And we're obviously terrified. We have no idea what's going on. We don't know if they're hostile. We don't know if they're passive. We don't know. All we know is there seems to be some kind of infection going on, something dangerous. And we're very worried by this point. We have no idea what's going on. But then my little brother suggests to me, we need to try and help them. We can't just stay in here forever, essentially. We can't just hide in here. And so we open the door expecting to see them, but they're not there. There's no one there on the landing. And we go downstairs, and I can't find my father or my mother. They've gone, but I see on the couch there's my sister. And she's in this trance, not speaking, but slightly twitching. And then, something quite disturbing, her head is sort of bobbing up and down, and her arms are loose, like a puppet's almost, very much like a puppet. And she's just, her head's bobbing up and down, sitting on the sofa, and I go over to her, and I say, "What's got you? What has done this to you?" And she says to me, "My brother killed me." No, I didn't kill her. And I think, what? My brother killed me. And so I turn around and see my brother, the guy who I thought was the last one, standing with me, and he's just looking at me. He's not under a trance, he's just looking at me dead in the eyes. And he starts walking towards me, and his hands coming out as if he wants to shake my hand. And it dawns on me in a second, wait a second, I think he's the cause of this. My little brother is the reason that all these people are under a trance. He seems to have done this to them. And so I kind of run at him and push him aside, praying that nothing will happen to me, and luckily nothing does. And I run to the back room, and I look on the walls. I look at all the photographs of the family. I see a family picture. There's my mother, my father, my sister, but there is no little brother. And within this dream psyche, I realise I have no brother. There is no brother in the family. Who is this who was seemingly helping me, and I don't know who he is. And then I turn around, and then there's this loud clang, and the entire family are staring at me. They've all got their whites of their eyes, and their heads are all bobbing up and down, just bobbing up and down. It's the weirdest thing, except for my little brother. And his fingers are sort of wiry. And I think something's up. I think that, well, I know something's up. This is really odd. And I think, how do I see I can't quite see what's going on here. So I reach into my pocket and pull out my iPhone. And I turn on the flash and take a picture. And what I see is my brother's gone, but the bobbing of the heads was caused by these actual puppets, these wooden fleshy puppets. They've got bits of flesh dangling off them. They're holding on to the heads of my family and forcing them up and down as they walk. Now, what makes this scene I'm seeing here quite so disturbing is the way that these puppets look. It's not just the flesh that's dangling off them. These are not small little puppets. They are gigantic things. They are literally looming over the family, and when they grab the backs of their heads and make them bob up and down, they are piercing their skulls to hold them. They are locked in. They are fused with them. And my little brother is essentially the puppet master, and he's got these strings, these ethereal strings linked to his fingers, and he is controlling them, and they in turn are controlling my family. And I mean, it's not just invading their mind, they are physically bending and moving them. They are kicking their feet forward to make them walk. They are bobbing their heads up and down. They're moving their arms loosely, which explains why my sister was moving before. And their size is quite terrifying. It's the fact they are literally overbearing them. They are having to crouch down. They are huge, and their wood is crass. The blood from the flesh just drips down onto the carpet, and they aren't looking at their victim. They are looking at me. They turn creakily, almost like a stop motion film if you've ever seen it, to look at me. And then I put my camera down and I see nothing. It's all gone blank. It's one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen, and I didn't know what to. Obviously, I think this was the apex of my terror within the dream, and they're just moving towards me, and I put the phone down, but you can't see them. You can only see them with the flash of the phone, and I don't know what to do. And I guess fight or flight comes in, something, because this is the most terrifying point of the dream, and I noticed that one of the puppets looks somewhat more vulnerable, the one that's holding onto my sister's head, than the others, and they're all bobbing up and down and grabbing them. And so in, I guess, a mad fight of bravery, I go and just punch the fleshy puppet thing that's grabbing onto my sister's head, and knocks it off, and it frees my sister. She looks at me, and the last thing I see in this dream is her looking at me, and she says, "Watch out," and then it goes black. Now, that could have just been me waking up, but I interpret that to mean that the puppet fleshy thing grabbed the back of my head and put me under its spell. Bit of a weird dream. I thought I'd share that with you. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.